Okay, well, I got the little beast up and running. Everything's connected back up. Everything fired up good. The boot up screen seemed normal. Processor was detected at the correct speed and everything. There was no glitches in the graphics as the boot screens were coming up. And I got it in mem test right now, running some tests on the memory. And I ran it through about 3 or 4 passes, something like that, on each one of the DIMMs when I was having the trouble before I cleaned everything out and put it all back together. And I wasn't getting any memory errors, and I'm not getting any memory errors right now. It's about a little over halfway through a full pass, and I usually let it go through 2 or 3 passes just to kind of, you know, assure me that the memory's doing okay. And everything seems to be fine. Even you can see right here it detected the processor properly. AMD Athlon 64 times to 2613 megahertz, 2.6 gigahertz, you know. And this is actually one of the more limited run processors. The type I've got, I think it's a 5200 Windsor. They offered them, you know, different level 2 caches for a while, but at the time I thought this was a really good deal. I got a good deal on it on Newegg, so I just kind of settled for that. They had some that were double the price and wasn't much more performance, you know. But anyway, as you can see there, it's on pass number 0, which is the first pass, and no errors. And this is not error correcting memory, so you won't see anything in that column. But everything seems to be running. All the fans are working. No errors, no system lockups at the moment. Maybe the CPU wasn't making good contact on one of the pins, or some dust got somewhere and it was acting a little futzy, or maybe it didn't show on the sensor, but maybe the CPU was getting a little warm because there was some dust on the heatsink or something. I hope that's what it is. I hope the motherboard's not flecking out, because if it is, then I'm going to rebuild the entire system from the ground up. It's been a little over 2 years, anyway, like 2 years and 4 or 5 months, and I'm about due for a new computer anyway. I usually retire these to be a LAN rig once I'm done with a computer, and I just build one that's, you know, pretty much up to spec with everything that's the new technology. But I never did go Crossfire on this system. This motherboard supports Crossfire running 2 ATI video cards, and they can work together to give you higher graphics performance. But you know, every time I would read, you know, about people doing that, it's like, you know, I was running Crysis, and you know, my one card was only giving me 60 frames per second, but now I'm running 2 in Crossfire, and you know, I'm getting, you know, 75 or 80 frames per second or something like that. And it did seem like a pretty good increase. Sometimes they wouldn't be that dramatic. I can't remember if any that I read was more dramatic, but to me, the cost of the extra card, at the time I bought this, it was maybe a $200 card, I think, and the cost of the extra card, plus the motherboard to support it, plus the headaches of getting the software to detect them both in Crossfire and not have any kind of errors and run fine with the game. Plus, at the time, there was only a few games right when they first started doing this that supported it. I'm sure tons of them support it now. But, you know, I was like, you know, shoot, just get the best video card you can, and save you a little money on the motherboard if you don't want to get Crossfire, and, you know, have less headaches in the end. And I know this motherboard supports Crossfire, and that was just part of the reason I got it. It had really great reviews. It was a good price range. It had all the other features that I needed, and it supported the processors I wanted it to support. Supported dual channel memory, and I mean, you know, it was just a great board. And I always go with MSI. That's almost exclusively. Several systems I built over the past 10 years have been MSI boards. It's just what I prefer. But you know, the Crossfire, it was just, you know, an option on this board, and I thought, well, maybe in the future, you know, I might try to get another card when these cards come down in price, and they did come all the way down to about $120 by the time I quit seeing Newegg offer them. But I never bought a second one. Could probably pick one up on Newegg if I wanted to, but you know, I don't like the complexity of dealing with, you know, 2 cards and stuff like that, and any kind of problems that might come along. And then if one card dies, well, then you're back to using one card until you can find a replacement. And you know, it's always done great. You know, I've never even played Crysis, but most of the other games that I play, like Team Fortress 2 and stuff like that online, run great with it. And you know, I haven't pushed it a lot, but it does everything I need it to do, and still running pretty solid right now. Maybe it was just a glitch. We're about 71% of the pass and still 0 errors, so hopefully it completes a couple of passes, no errors, and I'll try the other stick of memory and keep watching the system. And like to do that without going into Windows. I'm just booting off a floppy disk. I know a lot of people don't like floppies, but like I say, just like in the earlier clips from this series of videos, I was telling you that these are great for diagnosing problems. And I've just got MemTest on here, and I keep it on a floppy. It's a self-booting floppy. It's got some DOS files on there, and as long as your system can boot from a floppy drive, you can boot up with that, and it won't go into Windows and give you more headaches. If you know there's a problem with the system, you can just run diagnostics from the floppy drive and try to find out if there's something wrong. And this was a download I got off some kind of site. I know it's an old version, but still seems to do great for testing memory, and a lot of people still use it. But I'll update you and see if the system's doing better once I test the memory, and I'll get into Windows and run some games for a little while, and then maybe I can get back to doing the cases and updating the LAN rigs. See you in a little while.